Spot, camera, action.
Explanatory notes. It is important not to confuse cash, bills and coins, of which there is approximately 5% circulating around the world, with credit, which constitutes the other 95% of money in circulation. Second, it is important we should know that when any bank issues a loan, it is not money that the bank had in a strong box because of somebody else's savings. It is basically brand new money that is being created. They simply type it into a computer and it emerges as a newly born credit they are emitting, which you may now go and spend. That's how money in the form of credit, not paper money, gets into the system and moves the world. Third, we at the social citizen system assume that what you are going to see and hear is not believable. Those of you with training in economy will know what we are talking about. The rest of you may verify what we are saying with the bibliography that we quote in the text below. The world economy after World War II was planned by the Allies and mainly by the United States so that it would serve for the first time in the history of humankind as a real help to the punished citizens and to the reconstruction of infrastructures. There was a consensus of institutional goodness coming from the new governments, bearing in mind that the effects of the war had been catastrophic. But sometime around the 1980s, human evil and selfishness in the form of financial speculation resurfaced, and this is the result: meager wages, war, inflation, recession, job losses by the millions, and widespread dehumanization. We all live in the belief that there is only one economy, ours, the well-known one, the one that moves our world, the capitalist one. It is a serious mistake. There are two economies. One works on top of the other, and the one above is fed by the one below. Economy A, which is on top, that of stock markets, hedge funds, derivatives and bond markets, central banks, commercial and financial banking, governments, quantitative easing, market regulators. In short, the economy of speculation. Economy B, that is below, that of the worker, wages and salaries, the mortgage, the car loan, the vacations, the savings for the children's studies, that of unemployment, that of not making ends meet. And within this economy B, the null economy, that of entire regions of Asia, Africa or Latin America, where many citizens have access only to contaminated water and a poor meal a day. Let us look into the intelligence that lies behind both economies, the one above and the one below, and how they interact with each other. Economy A obeys the maxim of every man for himself. It receives money directly from the central banks, who inject money in the form of credit created out of thin air, although it sounds strange. That money is just an entry in a registry. The central banks, or similar organizations, deliver credit through an electronic entry without any compensation, so they can build credit indefinitely. They deliver this credit to governments, large corporations, commercial banks, and financial speculators. On the other hand, we have Economy B, the one below A. It obeys the maxim, work hard and save for the future. It also receives money in the form of credit based on fictitious money in two ways. The first, from commercial banking in the form of consumer credit for individuals and for small and medium-sized companies. And in the second place, from the government of each nation that invests it in large national companies and in state infrastructure such as hospitals, education and highways. On the one hand, the central banks keep banks, big businesses and the speculative world in permanent debt, charging interest on that debt. This is Economy A. On the other hand, individuals and entrepreneurs within Economy B are permanently indebted to commercial banks and to the government through credit and taxes. Both economies work under the same economic principle, the debt generated by the issued credit. The whole wide world lives thanks to the debt generated by credit, a credit based on non-existent money, which in origin, Economy A, is created from nothing, from thin air, from a magician's top hat. The notorious peculiarity of both economic systems is that when any person, organization, corporation or government returns the principal of the credit, they are returning it with interests and commissions. And it is from those interests and commissions that the world of Economy A is enriched in exchange for the world of Economy B becoming impoverished. In other words, what moves the world is capital based on fictitious credit that, when put to work, generates spending. But what swells the pockets of multinational corporations, millionaires, financiers and banks are the interests and commissions generated by the speculative movement of said capital. Who are the victims? Of course, the poor. Then the workers, small and medium businesses and families. And believe it or not, the governments. Within the sphere of Economy A, the governments who live in perpetual debt called public debt, in order to return the interest to central banks, collect taxes of all kinds from the working and business citizens who are within the sphere of Economy B. So when the government of a nation suffers from the public debt that grips it, the sphere of Economy B suffers, but never the sphere of Economy A, which is the owner of the debt based on issuance of fictitious money, credit. It is a diabolical process that has ended up drowning the system known as the welfare state. It's a root-rotten system. The money that buys Rolls-Royce, yachts, buildings, land, luxury, parties and diamonds circulates in the economy A sector, which lives on the interest generated by speculating with credit within the financial markets. In addition, the interest and commissions that rise towards economy A from economy B, generated by repaying our mortgages, car loans, furniture, our children's studies, vacations, and so on, swell the bulky interest accounts that are generated by speculative financial activity. The perversion of this credit distribution system lies in the innate selfishness of human beings. Within the monetary system based on bank notes and coins, which is 5% of what circulates in the world, if a moneylender lends money, he runs the risk that the debtor will not return it. Hence, the lender's prize is the return of his money plus interest and commissions that cover his anxiety for having lent at risk. But in the part of money that is credit, which we know is 90% of the money in circulation throughout the world, it does not come from anywhere. The central banks, which is the big money lender, do not run any risk if money is not returned because it is invented money. When the money is returned to him by the debtor, he has collected commissions and interests that come from the productivity of citizens and business people who have worked to ensure the return of the money plus interests and commissions of a money that does not exist. This system is called economic liberalism, and the new ferocious and ruthless forms of neoliberalism of the last 40 years are what are leading us towards collective ruin, while the citizens within economy A pocket large amounts of money practically without working. If a worker in economy B cannot repay his credit, his assets are seized, home, car or business. If those in economy A cannot repay, more fictitious money is injected into the system until they end up generating enough interest and commissions to satisfy their own central banks who issue that fictitious money. What we have explained obeys the scheme known as pyramid scam. Believe it or not, it is the great historical scam of our times, and we are living it and suffering it right now. It is the origin of inequality, the loss of purchasing power, the loss of the welfare state, the disappearance of the middle class, the skyrocketing price of our children's studies, of the shopping basket, and of housing, inflation runaway, structural unemployment, the decline in pensions, the loss of health rights. Those from below, economy B, support those from above, economy A, and those from economy A create monetary, economical, financial bubbles that, when they burst, are those from economy B who pay for them and suffer from them. In the following video, we are going to see what solution there is to this problem from the social citizens systems point of view.
Power off! Let's go!